Philadelphia news, team of my heart.
ESPN just dropped a report that has Sixers fans losing their minds right now. They revealed a trade target that could legitimately turn Philadelphia into the best team in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, I said it, best team, not second best, not a contender, the actual favorite to come out of the East. And when I tell you who this player is, you're either going to think Daryl Morey is an absolute genius or you're going to call me crazy. But here's the thing. This trade makes so much sense that it's honestly shocking nobody's talking about it more. If the Sixers can pull this off, and that's a massive if, they solve a problem they've had for literally 5 years. A problem that's cost them playoff series, destroyed their chemistry, and made them one of the most frustrating teams to watch in the entire league. So what is this long-time issue that's been haunting Philadelphia? It's simple. They have no reliable wing defender who can also create their own shot. Look, Joel Embiid is the best center in the East when healthy. Tyrese Maxey just made the All-Star team, and he's only getting better. Paul George, when he's on the court, is still an elite two-way player. But here's what kills them every single year. In the playoffs, teams throw their best wing scorer at Philly, and the Sixers have nobody who can consistently stop them and then go to the other end and get buckets when the offense stalls. Remember when Jimmy Butler torched them? Remember when Jason Tatum went off? It's the same story over and over. They try to hide Maxey on defense, Embiid can't guard the perimeter, and suddenly they're down 3-1 in a series wondering what went wrong. The stats back this up too. Last season, the Sixers ranked 18th in defensive rating against opposing small forwards. 18th. That's below average in a conference where you have to go through Tatum, Butler, Paolo Banchero, and whoever the Knicks throw at you. They've tried to fix this before. They brought in Tobias Harris, paid him $180 million, and he couldn't be that guy. They traded for DeAnthony Melton, he got hurt. They signed Kelly Oubre, solid player, but not a game changer. Every single attempt to solve this problem has failed. And it's not just defense. When the playoffs come around and the game slows down, Philly needs a third guy who can go get a bucket when Embiid is doubled and Maxey is face guarded. They don't have that. Paul George was supposed to be that, but he's 34 years old, injury prone, and let's be real, he's not 2019 Paul George anymore. So the Sixers are stuck. They have 2 max contracts in Embiid and George who can't stay healthy. They have a promising young core, but they're missing that one piece, the defensive wing who can also score 20 a night and take over a game in the fourth quarter. That's what ESPN says they found, and according to the report, this player is available. Like actually available. His current team is shopping him because they're not going anywhere this year and they want to reset. Multiple sources confirm Philly has already had preliminary conversations. This isn't just speculation, there's real smoke here. So who is this mystery player that could transform the Sixers? Before I tell you, let me explain why this makes perfect sense. First, he's averaging over 20 points per game this season on elite efficiency. Second, he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, regularly guards the other team's best scorer, and has the size and strength to switch on almost anyone. Third, and this is huge, he's proven he can be the #1 option on a playoff team. He's hit big shots, he's been in pressure situations, and he's not going to shrink in the moment. Fourth, he fits the timeline. He's 27 years old, right in his prime, which matches up perfectly with Maxey, who's 24, and gives them a championship window that extends beyond Embiid's peak. And fifth, his contract is manageable. He's not making supermax money, which means Philly can actually afford to trade for him without completely destroying their roster. Now here's what the Sixers would have to give up. According to ESPN's reporting, the asking price is Tobias Harris's expiring contract, which makes the money work, plus either Jared McCain or Ricky Council, one of the young guys, plus 2 first-round picks. That's a lot, but is it too much? Let's compare this to similar trades. When the Raptors traded for Kawhi Leonard, they gave up DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a first-round pick. That trade won them a championship. When the Celtics traded for Drew Holiday, they gave up Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, and 2 picks. That trade got them to the finals. When you're trying to win now, when you have a 30-year-old center with a bad knee and a closing championship window, you don't play it safe. You go all in. But here's where it gets complicated. The team that's trading this player, they might not actually want to move him. Yeah, they're listening to offers, but their front office is split. Some executives think they should rebuild. Others think they can still compete. If they lose 3 or 4 more games, the rebuild faction wins and the player is gone. But if they go on a winning streak, suddenly he's untouchable again. So Philly has a very narrow window to make this happen. Like, we're talking weeks, not months. The trade deadline is February 6th. If Morey wants this guy, he needs to act fast. And knowing Morey's history, the dude doesn't hesitate. This is the same GM who traded for James Harden twice. He's not afraid to make a big move. But there are other obstacles too. First, the new CBA. Philly is already over the luxury tax, and if they take on this player's contract, they're going to be in the second apron, which limits what they can do in the future. Is it worth it? If they win a championship, absolutely. But if this trade happens and Embiid gets hurt again or Paul George can't stay on the court, then Philly is stuck with massive tax bills and no flexibility. Second, there are other teams interested. The Heat reportedly want this player. The Lakers have been sniffing around. The Pelicans might make a push. So even if Philly offers those 2 picks and the young player, they might get outbid. And third, does this player even want to come to Philadelphia? He's got a no-trade clause in his contract. If he says no, the whole thing falls apart. But here's why I think he'd say yes. Philly gives him a chance to win now. They have an MVP caliber center, an all-star point guard, and a proven playoff performer in Paul George. If you're 27 years old and you've never been past the second round, wouldn't you want to join a team that's one piece away from the finals? Plus, Philly's fan base is insane. They'd love him immediately. He'd be the missing piece, the guy who finally gets them over the hump. That's a legacy-defining move. So let's play this out. Imagine the trade goes through. Imagine the Sixers starting 5 is Tyrese Maxey, this player, Paul George, Caleb Martin, and Joel Embiid. That's 3 elite defenders in the starting lineup. That's 4 guys who can score 20 on any given night. That's a team that can switch everything on defense and still have enough offense to beat anybody. Now picture a playoff series against the Celtics. Jason Tatum is going at this new player, but he can't blow by him like he did against Tobias Harris. Jaylen Brown tries to attack Maxey, but now Maxey has help. The Sixers aren't scrambling on defense anymore. They're locked in. And on offense, when Embiid gets doubled, he kicks to this guy who can either knock down the 3 or attack a closeout. When Maxey is face guarded, this player can run a pick and roll and create his own shot. When Paul George is having an off night, they still have a third option. That's a complete team. That's a championship level roster. But what if it doesn't happen? What if Philly refuses to give up the picks? What if the other team asks for more? Then the Sixers are stuck with the same flawed roster they've had for years. They'll probably make the playoffs because the East is weak this year, but they'll lose in the second round again. Embiid will be another year older, his knee will be another year worse, and suddenly the window is closed. Maxey will ask for a trade, George will retire, and Philly will be back in the lottery wondering how they wasted another generational talent. That's the stakes here. This isn't just about making the roster better, it's about salvaging the entire Embiid era before it's too late. So, does this insane trade turn the Sixers into the best team in the East? If Embiid stays healthy, if Paul George plays like he's capable, if Maxey continues to improve, then yeah, absolutely. The Celtics are the favorites right now, but they don't have an answer for Embiid. The Cavaliers are undefeated, but they don't have the playoff experience. The Knicks are tough, but they lack a true superstar. A healthy Sixers team with this player is better than all of them. The problem is that's a lot of ifs. If Embiid plays 60 games, if George doesn't get hurt, if the new player fits the system. But isn't that the case with every trade? You're always betting on the future. And when you have a chance to add a 27-year-old two-way wing who solves your biggest weakness, you take that bet every single time. So, who is this mystery player that could change everything for Philadelphia? The guy ESPN says is available, the guy Daryl Morey is reportedly targeting, the guy who could finally give the Sixers the elite wing defender and shot creator they've been desperate for. It's OG Anunoby. Yes, that OG Anunoby. And before you say the Knicks would never trade him, remember, they just gave up a ton for him, and he's been banged up this year. If New York stumbles and decides to reset, Philly needs to be ready. Drop in the comments right now, would you trade Tobias Harris, Jared McCann, and 2 first-round picks for OG Anunoby? Is that too much, or is that exactly what the Sixers need to do? Hit that like button if you think this trade makes Philly the best team in the East, and subscribe because I'm about to break down 3 other trades the Sixers should consider if this falls through.
This is either genius or disaster, and we're about to find out which one.